Hello again, everyone, and welcome to We Have a Kidnapping. This is Brian Smith, and we're going to continue now with the Steve Thomas and John and Patsy Ramsey on the Larry King Live explosive interview from 2000. This is part three, and let's get right to the festivities.
Let her answer the question, John. Why would you let your wife answer the question?
Because you have assaulted her. You've called her a murderer. You have checked 73 suspects and said because Patsy's handwriting was the only one that couldn't be eliminated, therefore she is a murderer. That is absurd.
He just said that she was a suspect. He didn't say she's a murderer. She's definitely a suspect. Why not?
You would
Why
have to
did you
check
change your
6
handwriting
billion
post-homicide?
people.
Why would question document experts and people who looked at the ransom note suggest that you changed handwriting habits after the homicide?
We have not heard that. That is not what our experts have said.
That's not what our experts have said. They always go back to their experts. They're the high and mighty, and they have the experts. Nobody else is. Very arrogant.
Can Patsy answer the question, Mr. Ramsey?
If you're going to continue to assault her, I will continue to answer
Well,
the
she came
questions.
on the show tonight. I'm assuming she's capable of answering questions here.
If he brings up evidence, he's assaulting her. If he's asked to give his theory, which he finally did, now they're saying he's assaulting her.
Capable of answering your
I
questions.
still haven't heard the theory yet. I totally agree that whoever wrote this ransom note killed our daughter. Yes, I concur wholeheartedly.
Why would she say that? Why? How is she so sure that whoever wrote the letter is the one that killed their daughter? Wow. That's as close as to a confession as you're going to get.
Believes you
Now
wrote the
let's
note.
hear, what I want to hear is, how is it exactly that you think that I killed my daughter?
What's the
She just said, I killed my daughter. I want to go back. I know she said, how do you think? But she actually said, I killed my daughter.
What I want to hear is, how is it exactly that you think that I killed my daughter?
I killed my daughter.
Cannot
She said
understand
it.
that. I want to hear it from start to finish.
It's an embedded confession.
I wasn't
Embedded
there. You were
confession.
at home that night, and apparently you say you
Tell me what
you
happened,
can't say for
Mr.
certainty.
Well, she's putting him on the hot seat, on the trial chair. She's become the prosecutor.
You were in the house, right?
Yes,
Am I
certainly was.
assuming
Answer my question, please.
Certainly,
Well, he wasn't there, so he can't know for
He has a
certain.
theory.
He has to have a
He's
theory.
accused
All
of
right.
murder.
yeah, and
What is your
you've
theory?
heard the theory.
I have not heard the theory.
Offered a
Please-
hypothesis. One,
Please answer my question.
I'm trying to,
All
John.
right. Your theory is
My theory is that Patsy, in a violent confrontation with her daughter,
accidentally killed her.
no, not accidental. I hypothesize in the sense that it lacked motive, not unlike
No motive.
accidental in that sense. Excuse me, John.
Oh,
Did you have something else?
I've got lots of
Good.
but go ahead.
At that point, instead of making a right turn, she made a left turn and covered this up. It's not unlike 11,000 other children that have been murdered in this country or killed feloniously by parents in the last 20 years.
11,000 children killed in 20 years. So it's not like it's uncommon.
I don't see this as that remarkable a case other than what it became.
If it's this pat as you say, and it's the way you make it, it's kind of pat. Why has no action been taken against this
Because
couple?
his theory is contradicted irrefutably by the forensic evidence.
No, it's not. It's not contradicted. It is not contradicted at all by the evidence.
Convoluted sex crimes,
Would you
pedophile
allow me
kidnapping.
to answer the question, please, Steve?
What's the-
John, we have had some of the world's best forensics experts look at the evidence. They have told us that John Bonet was strangled to death. The last act that this creature did to our daughter was a vicious blow to the head. That is irrefutable.
That is not irrefutable. Many experts said that she was hit on the head first because there was blood under the skin in the cranium. If she had been strangled to death and was dead when she got hit, there would not be any bleeding. He wanted to make that very clear, that the strangling was first and then the blow to the head after she was dead. It's very important for the Ramseys to dictate what happened. They're going to dictate the story. You've got two suspects who are narrating what happened, and not everybody's buying it, including me.
That's not consistent with
It's not consistent with your theory, and that's my point.
What he was saying is that's not consistent with the evidence, but again, he was interrupted.
Right, but you're suggesting, if I am hearing you correctly, and let me ask you, why will you not take the FBI polygraph?
Don't change the subject.
I'll get back to
Okay.
it. Deal with the topic at hand. We're dealing with big issues.
Let's
here.
hear your
You've
theory.
accused
Let's
us-
hear your theory.
You have
Let's hear
accused
your
us
theory,
of
Mr.
murder.
Ramsey.
Now, he's asking for Ramsey's theory. He'll never get it. He will never give any theory. He wants the theory from Steve Thomas.
I'm waiting. Let's hear
I
your
I'm
theory.
waiting for you to finish.
Right.
Tell me exactly, step by step, how you envision
I wasn't there,
that I
Betsy. You were in the home
You
that
must
night.
have conjured something in your head for you to come out and call me a murderer of my child.
Betsy, I think
Now,
you
I
wrote
want to
the-
hear
I think you
1
wrote the
through
ransom.
10.
I think you heard.
When did I
wrote the
write
ransom
this
note.
ransom
You-
note? Before
you
or
tell me
after I
if you
killed
wrote
it?
the ransom
No,
note.
you're the one theorizing here. You tell me.
You were in the house that night.
Steve, you have a
And John,
very-
you can't say for certain.
It's circumstantial.
Yeah, and John, you can't say for certain who did or did not kill John Bonet because you have said you were asleep. You cannot say for certain because you weren't there.
I want to hear your theory, Steve.
Well, he had nothing to say for that. In fact, he laughs at it. He laughs during the discussion of the death of his daughter. I am really starting to think that these two were psychotic. I don't know what else to think.
Do you, let me ask you this. Are you prepared to state that Patsy killed John Bonet, that
Patsy killed John Bonet, another embedded confession.
covered it up, and that you can prove that in a court of law? Are you prepared to say that
I've written a
tonight?
book, and
And again, he summed it up pretty clearly.
I stand by my book.
Your book said that.
My book stands on its own. I haven't heard this pedophile, kidnapper, murderer theory.
So you
You mean
didn't
their
consider
theory.
all options?
So you will say that in
we-
a court of law
Certainly
when
we
we're taken
considered
to
options
suit.
in this case.
What do you, when you're a detective, this fascinates me. Do you guess as to motive when you're looking into a crime? Like, why was this child killed? For what purpose?
Certainly.
Okay. And in this case, you came to the conclusion that it was sort of in a rage.
Yeah, I don't think that there was any
Was it
premeditation
Let
to
me
this
ask you
child
this,
being
Steve.
killed. You're
What-
still not answering my
What
question,
in our
Mr. Ramsey.
background did you find, and our background has been investigated for 3.5 years, what in our background did you find that would show that we were capable of this horrible
You
crime?
play.
Well, often there's not anything in the background. Look at Christopher Watts, and there's so many other people. There was nothing in the background that said that they were murderers previously. But the red flag in that is he may have been doing things long before the murder, John Ramsey, I'm saying, or Patsy, who knows, because of the evidence that's strong by the medical experts that there was prior sexual abuse on John Bonet. It's clearly in the evidence. Somebody finally got caught.
Right into it. I don't show that there's a motive in this case. I don't suggest that.
I didn't ask my question. What did you find in our background that would demonstrate that we were capable of this kind
Well,
of
I
horrible
gave
crime?
you a pass, John, unless you want to say otherwise. I don't think you were involved.
I'm asking
We,
about,
said we.
you accused Patsy of murder, me of
What
complicity.
in my past
What in
have you
Patsy's past
seen
did
that
you
has
find?
ever indicated that I would be capable of doing something like this?
Well-
These 11,000 parents that you state.
I'll ask you
They
a
have
question
a
right
past.
back. You
I don't want to put that back. I want a question.
okay,
Please,
certainly. You suggest this great conspiracy
Answer.
involving.
Let me-
I'm
let me
trying
get
to.
Wow, they've got him on the hot seat like he's committed these terrible crimes. And when you think about it, it's a brilliant ploy because it takes all the heat off them and puts it all on Steve Thomas.
And
let me get a break. Let me get a break, and then we'll have to have more direct questions
He
and
never
answers.
answers the question.
All right, we'll be right back with Steve Thomas and the Ram.
He never answers the questions, she says, but they don't answer any and didn't appear before the Boulder police for 4 months. This is disgraceful.
Ramses, don't go away. Is the key to this what you're saying, the note? That's the whole key.
Absolutely. As a matter of
They keep saying no, but it was a 3-page ransom letter.
fact, I've heard Patsy Ramsey say on national television that even their own experts cannot eliminate her as the author of the note. And a follow-up question to that is she says there's people who rate higher on that scale who are potential suspects. And I'd ask you, who are these
None of
people?
your business, Steve, because you're no longer a police detective. Let me ask you
I'm a
to answer
citizen,
the
and I'm
question.
asking why you're not
Let
going to
me-
the Boulder
please
Police Department.
Your contention is it is based on your belief she wrote the note.
Primarily.
So 2 + 2 = 4.
Primarily, yes, sir.
Answer my question. What in Patsy's background did you find that would cause you to believe that she could commit this horrible act?
Well,
There has to be that question asked by John Ramsey constantly because he knows there's nothing in her background that they know of. But that doesn't always qualify. Again, I go back to Christopher Watts. I go back to Darlie Routier, Jeffrey McDonald, where the evidence proved without a shadow of a doubt that they were the killers and there was nothing in the background. Can't use that excuse.
pose this and answer the
Okay, no,
question.
all right, well,
please.
let him try. Go ahead.
I can't get 3 words out.
Okay.
Answer the question. Don't
let
answer
let
the
me
question.
pose this. And absent this great conspiracy that you suggest,
Please
would these pediatric experts come in?
answer the question, Steve.
Well, wait a minute. All right, let's. Okay.
Fair is fair.
Can I ask a
You see that-
question and
I know,
have it
but
answered?
someone could not have a background and still do something violent. one day.
Very, very unlikely.
You mean
Ac-
if this
according-
person commits violence, they have committed it before? Is that
According to your theory.
parental
Most probably.
abuse situation in virtually all of the cases, there is a history of abuse that's known by the parents, by the authorities, by the social services agencies.
Was a thorough investigation done of the Ramseys and their children?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And why would pediatric medical experts that the Boulder Police Department brought into this case swear out via affidavit that John Bonet had been subjected to prior
That's a
vaginal
lie.
trauma?
Now, there's the key right there. And it was proven by these medical experts. I think there was 15 who got together and said there was prior sexual abuse on John Bonet. Now, this really gets the Ramseys in an uproar. Patsy comes out, you're going to hear it, where she said, that's a lie. Well, 15 people were wrong, medical experts who specialize in pediatric cases.
Lying, Steve. That is
Are
a
you-
lie.
you're saying they didn't say that?
Our pediatrician, who saw John Bonet a dozen times each year for the past 3 years before this happened, has sworn and testified in public that he saw no evidence of
And what was
sexual
the
abuse.
evidence?
Which is ridiculous because this Dr. Bof, or whatever his name is, their pediatrician, he never did a pelvic exam. Why would he on a 6-year-old? And he's not going to say, yes, there was evidence that I just missed it. That would make him look incompetent. Of course he's going to say there was no evidence of that, but he did not do a pelvic or gynecological exam. He never did. You wouldn't do it on a 4 or 5 or 6-year-old unless there was absolute cause to do that. So that is a absolute charge that is ridiculous to talk about, but Bof is not going to say that, yes, there was things I noticed and I missed it. No way he would say that.
Pediatrician saw.
Well, not my pediatrician,
Well,
pediatric experts that
said-
brought this case.
Who are they,
The
please,
Blue
Steve?
Ribbon Medical Panel.
Can I ask you who they are?
Can I ask you who they are? He knows exactly who they are. And it was a blue ribbon panel of 15 pediatric experts across the country examined this case.
Said that this little girl, prior to the night she died, had been subjected to previous vaginal trauma.
Could I ask who they are? Because this is in the
That is a lie. You heard Patsy.
same category as his so-called linguistics expert, who he
Now he's deflecting and changing the topic again.
Brought in and testified that
We
Patsy.
could ask you, what's his motive? What do you think? Why?
I think his
you think
motive-
he's out to get you?
I think at this point he's a profiteer. He's the only person from inside the system who has written a book, who is.
Now, Ramsey wrote a book, they wrote a book, and they said that it went to charity. It did not go to charity. It went to their defense fund, millions that they profiteered from that want to pay their lawyers. Shameful, shameful, shameful.
Has gone on national television. It's disgraceful. Absolutely
But he
disgraceful.
did quit his job over this, so obviously
It's because he was headed down the wrong path. He was at the point of no return. And his
I don't
ego
think
is
so.
the
I don't
size of
think
a
so.
barn. And
He's headed down the wrong path. His ego's as big as a barn. There we go with the descriptive phrases again that is very similar to what the ransom letter writer said. She's playing right into those of us who study this case.
you can't put it aside
I don't
to
think
try
so,
to find
Patsy.
murder of this child.
Everybody's wrong, but Lou Smith.
That's right. That's what it says in your book.
Everybody's wrong, but Lou Smith. The FBI.
Now she's saying that Steve Thomas is the only one who thinks that. Thousands and thousands of experts, from the Boulder police to the medical experts to people around the country, agree with what Steve Thomas is saying. Thousands and thousands.
Federal law enforcement, the FBI polygraphy unit, state law enforcement, the governor of Colorado, the police
They've been
detectives,
arrested.
the
Did they
DA's
show,
office.
did all of those people show all of their evidence to the grand jurors?
Let's remember, the
Why
grand jury did
didn't
not
they
exonerate
come?
you either.
It's not the grand jury's task to exonerate. Their task is to
I think the
indict.
grand jury may have issued a report had they.
And according to them, this is back in 2000, the grand jury dismissed the case, which we know now they voted to indict. And it's just a shame that it didn't go through. It's really a travesty of justice.
You were the target
Steve,
of this
that's
grand jury.
no question.
You know it.
I know that.
Probable cause wasn't an issue, and Patsy tonight, I think I've heard her say she wished she was arrested in this case.
Well, because they feel it would be an end. had you
We've been
had a
tried
trial.
in public by innuendo
For
and
3
slander
years,
from
3
people
years.
like you.
People like you. I mean, what did he do? He investigated the case. But yet they had a child in their home found dead with a bogus ransom note. This really makes your blood boil when you think about it.
You know, yes, God knows,
Yeah,
we
I
would
don't-
love to have had a fair trial.
I don't
before the law.
apologize for the book. I left a career, Larry, as you said. I wrote the book for the same reason that you did, to put
No.
information out
You wrote
publicly.
that book to
and-
line your pockets with
Well,
money based on our
that's not true.
tragedy.
As a matter of fact, I think you wrote a book as well and
And
took money for that.
It's going to charity.
Is it's going to charity? No, it didn't. They freely lie.
Tell me what you
And
know
I
the
think
money
you've
you're
also
writing
said.
is.
I think you've also said it's going to a legal defense fund.
No,
Which-
On the other side, you said that one of the reasons this case is unsolved is him.
absolutely.
Why?
Because he failed miserably in the task he was given. He was inexperienced. He didn't accept help from people
You
who
think
would
he had the
jump
opportunity to solve
conclusions.
it?
So it's Steve Thomas's fault the case didn't get solved. Not because the Ramseys lawyered up and didn't speak to the police and lied and really did so many things that haven't even been put out yet, and did not let Burke speak, and wrote a phony ransom letter.
At that point,
I think experienced homicide investigators could have solved this case by now.
The
You know,
FBI's
Thomas's fault. You know, it is not all this young man's fault. He did not have good leadership in his department to lead him.
Now I think Patsy is having some sorrow here, because she knows in her heart that she it really put it to him, and that soft side comes out, which it also did in the letter. Use that, make sure you're well rested, and use that good Southern common sense, John. That they're really just destroying him, lambasting him publicly.
It's just that he's going down the wrong path. Now, what
Is
I
angrier than you.
do, well, you know, I feel sorry for the man, truly. We know we're not guilty. He is convinced that we are. Now, I am sorry for
Somebody's
that.
wrong.
His career
We know who
has
did.
suffered. He's a young man.
Somebody's wrong, and John said, we know who it is. Yes, you do. 100%
He
you
has
know.
lost his job. He doesn't even have a family yet, I don't believe. Perhaps you're married. God willing, if you ever have a child one day, you will know the pain, perhaps, when someone hands you the child in your arms and says, Mr. Thomas, this is your child. Do you tell me that you're going to look at that child and you just had a new baby, Larry? Could you ever conceive
I can't
of
imagine how anyone
doing
could harm a child.
something
It's
to
beyond
this
belief.
child, let alone
I'm
the
sure it's
things
beyond
that
belief
this
to you,
man
too, right?
is
I mean, beyond that anyone.
She puts up a good story, but there's just no sign of an intruder. So if there's no intruder, then the Ramseys did it. They covered it up or something. It can't just be saying Burke when he was not quite 10 years old. So the evidence points to the parents.
Committed by a male intruder, a psychopath and a pedophile. A killer is either an ex-con or knows criminals. Entered the home while you were out to dinner, and original intent was to kidnap, and then killed after that. Have I got that right?
Generally right. Most importantly, though, is the sequence of events which are supported by forensics experts. John Bonet was strangled with a professionally made garrote.
No, she wasn't.
The last
No,
act
it was not a
this torture
professional garrote.
did to my beautiful child is strike her in the head with a vicious
Nope.
blow.
The blow was first.
Dead or near dead when that blow was administered.
Now, I know detectives like to put together things, so Steve, help me. Put together what you think happened that night.
Well, I certainly don't think this, and I still haven't heard this convoluted sex crime kidnap gone awry. There is that it? Is it that simple that
That's simple.
Yes,
that
that's
this person came in the house, had to find Patsy's pad,
Answer
had to
Larry's
find a
question,
pen.
please.
Yeah, I'm responding to your last statement.
No, we'll get into each one. Give me yours, and then we'll examine each one of the things.
Well, as I've
What
said,
happened
I think it takes a very simple explanation that's consistent with the evidence. Who wrote the ransom note? Patsy, who can't be
What do you think
eliminated?
happened before that? What do you think happened there? As you're putting together a crime, let's say that police try to put together a scenario in the O.J. Simpson case, and their scenario was he came upon this scene, he reacted out of rage, he ran. They had a scenario.
Well, certainly in a domestic homicide, some evidence that might otherwise be incriminating that could be explained away. I think there are some lacking pieces of the puzzle here that that prevented beyond a reasonable doubt in the minds of prosecutors from taking this case
What do you
forward. But
think
I
happened?
think there was a toileting issue.
I think that had something to do with it. This toileting issue had something to do with it, and she had had enough, and she got very rough with John Bonet. Again, we probably will never know, and this could go on and on. So I think this is a good time to end this segment. We will continue on the next podcast on the tragic case of John Bonet Ramsey. We have a kidnapping, and we will continue on our next podcast. I want to thank you for listening.